guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy and I help people become the best version of themselves by sharing what I've learned along my journey. Do you suffer with depression? Are you someone who has suicidal thoughts? Do you stay in bed every day and dread to face the world? Well, this was me a couple months ago, and it was something I battled with for the majority of my life, from the age of about 11. It sounds very young, but we all experience depression in our own ways, and I would like to share with you the 10 hacks that I've applied to my life to make my life a lot better and deal with these emotions. I hope you enjoy this. We should not view depression as a state of mental illness, but rather a state of deep rest, which we enter into when we fall under the exhaustion of carrying this false narrative of who we are. We continuously tell ourselves a story of what we reflect as a human species. I would like to share the 10 life hacks that I've been applying to my life over the last couple months, and it has completely transformed my life to be where I am today, and I still use it. I used it this morning because I was having one of those weeks, and sometimes they can't be avoided. So these are really, really cool hacks to use. I hope you enjoy them. Number 1, depression has different faces. Everyone's depression is unique to them. What I may experience in my reality could be completely different to the person next to me. No two people are ever the same, and our experiences are not the same either. So when people say get over it, it is not as easy as what other people may think. When people say get over it, it is a process, it's a journey. It's about listening to what the sadness is teaching you or talking to you about. So what you need to do is realize that when we start to come out of the depression, we can only become the best version of ourselves then. What we need to do is realize we are different, we are unique, and all of us experience different things in our lives. Number 2, you need to let go of that label. I am someone who was holding on to a label for a very long time. I was diagnosed with Asperger's, and it kept me back from being the best version that I could be, because when I associated myself with that label, I put myself in a restrictive mode. I put myself into a place where I was saying, I am a label. If you're stating, I am a certain thing, I am depressed, everything that comes after that I am, you become. You basically create what you want to be. So when you are straight away putting yourself in that statement of labeling, you are keeping yourself in that depressive state. When you say, I am depressed, you will do something that depressed people do. When you continuously reiterate, I am, you will become. So maybe try changing your words. Like, I'm going through a low point in my life, but I know that I will get through this. I am a warrior. I am temporarily experiencing these bad dips in my life, but I know that it will come right. When you just change what comes out of your mouth, it can change your entire reality. I am telling you this because I've experienced it firsthand. I am incredible. I am not Asperger's. I am not depressed. I am me. I am incredible. I'm beautiful, and I'm a strong woman. And that's what you should be telling yourself, because everything that you tell yourself, you will respond to. Number 3, you need to stop making excuses. This is a difficult one for people with depression, and I was one of them that didn't quite understand what it meant. But when you make an excuse not to better yourself, you're keeping yourself in that state. So when you say, I'm going to stay in bed because I am, see there's the I am again, I am too depressed to go to work, or I am too depressed to exercise, I am too depressed to eat well, you are already telling yourself that you are a failure. You are already telling yourself that you haven't even tried. When we stop justifying our behavior of how we are, we begin to break out of that shell of what's keeping us back. When I began to let go of all the excuses, I began to become well, I began, is that the right word? I began to become, it doesn't sound right, the best version of myself. I stopped holding myself back and I became everything, well, I'm still becoming the best, everything that I ever dreamed of. Like, I'm starting to achieve what's been keeping me back for years and years and years. What you need to remember is that you're an infinite being, having a human experience here on earth. Your soul is never ending. You are an incredible, amazing, powerful being. And if you only knew that, you would begin to fly. So you need to start to believe that, because that's the only way that you are actually going to fight this thing. Number 4, suppression equals depression. When we suppress our feelings and we don't talk about our feelings, we tend to turn to things like alcohol, drugs, sex that tend to fill that void and numb that pain that we don't like to speak about. So what you need to ask yourself is, what is making me so afraid to experience these emotions when I'm in the moment? What is keeping you back from expressing what you're truly feeling? You can do your own shadow work. You can experience and feel that raw, authentic emotion. Feel the intensity. Everything is energy. Everything in this world is made up from emotion. Anything that exists, my shoe exists from an emotion of expression. This is an emotion of expression. Just like depression is emotion of expression. We have so many different emotions that we experience within our lives. Why can depression not be one of those emotions? Why do we feel guilty for feeling depression? When we realize what is causing the emotion, we start to realize that there's nothing to fear. Many people also feel very alone. You are never alone. There's always someone there willing to help you. You need to just realize that you need to want that help in order to fix yourself. So if people are willing to give you help, you need to take that help and you need to use it, because you are the creator. You need to create what you want to become. When you think you are alone, you will be alone. Your vibe will attract your tribe. If you don't want to be in a state of depression, when you start changing your states of emotion, the right people will be led to you. I can, with all my heart, say that this is true, because this is what I used to do. I used to say that I'm depressed, I've got no one to talk to, I don't know what to do. And then when I started talking to people and putting myself out there and starting to change my states of emotion from a negative state of emotion to a positive state of emotion, I essentially started becoming a better person, and I started attracting people that I was connecting with on a level that I could understand. So sometimes what you need to do is just let go of that, because it's going to hold you back. Engage with people. Put yourself out there. I know it can be scary in the beginning, but once you realize and take these steps, you will begin to spread your wings, and people will begin to, they will be drawn to you. They'll be drawn to that positive energy, and they'll start to see what's truly inside of you, because you're hiding all of it. Life is full of seasons. Number 5. Everything changes. Nothing ever stays the same. Some seasons are cold, some seasons are hot, sometimes are sad, sometimes are happy. Some things are good, some things are bad. Everything's about polarization. Just like the moon affects the tides, affects the oceans, our bodies are made up of 70% water. So often when we have full moons, we'll end up being more moody. You know, the mood swings are basically associated with everything around us. So sometimes we don't even realize why we're depressed. It could be something as simple as being celestial. A full moon, for instance, during the olden days, when there was a full moon, they actually used to call crazy people, well, normal people who went a bit nuts over this period, lunatics. So that's where the word came from. What you need to do is just realize is that these things are part of nature and part of life, and it just happens everywhere. We just need to accept what it's trying to teach us and experience that raw emotion. Number 6, meditate to elevate. It has been proven that within only 8 weeks of only 5 minutes of meditation per day, we can actually change the structure of our brains. There is a small organ located in the brain's temporal lobe, which is actually responsible for the connection of emotion and learning. It's called the hippocampus. And according to studies, the hippocampus has actually been reduced in size in those people who have suffered with depression. It also assists the forming of memories and connecting them to emotions. So you can understand that when we actually speak how depressed we are, and when we think a lot, it does affect how our brain cells actually connect with one another. Chants, mantras, and affirmations can actually be used to help us through depression by using sound frequency. So everything that we emit out through our voice holds a certain frequency. So many people will know the Om. That Om emits a certain frequency of 432 hertz, which is a healing frequency. We can also heal with music, which has this type of frequency. Many of our new age music, unfortunately, doesn't hold this frequency. It's a very low frequency. So if you honestly don't connect to today's music, you probably know why. So when we voice a certain emotion in a negative light, it bounces back to us and comes back to us, and our cells actually listen to that. So when you say things like, I am a failure, I am depressed, it really is honestly vibrating a certain frequency and putting you back into that state of helplessness and that really low vibration of depression. Rather say, I am in the process of rising. I may not be there, but I will get there soon. Just like I said earlier on, what you say actually does make a difference. Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese author who believed that consciousness actually had an effect on water, did an experiment with 2 different cups, and he spoke to them, one with hate, one with love, and underneath on a microscope, the water cells were actually distorted on the cup that he spewed hate to, and they were really beautifully formed in the cup that was given love and spoken good to. So as you can imagine, like I said earlier, when your body is made up of 70% water, what you're saying, your cells are actually responding to. This is actually the case when most people get sick. For instance, cancer, they experience really fast degeneration, and they actually pass very quickly because they are telling themselves that they are sick and that they are not going to fight it. And this is my opinion. You can do your own research, but our bodies truly do respond. Number 7, invest in good nutrition. This one is a very important one because what we eat, we become. Everything that we put in our bodies is absorbed by our cells. So when we are consuming foods that are full of fats, that are fried, that are processed and full of refined sugars, we actually reduce the size of that hippocampus, and we interfere in that connection of those cells. So what you need to do is include superfoods into your diet. It's a really great way to get those cells connecting again. Spirulina is amazing. Maca, chia seeds, moringa is a great one. Try putting that into a smoothie every morning. It will change your life, guys. Do not eat bad food. It will make you feel worse. Number 8, go outside. The word SAD stands for Seasonal Affective Disorder. So our energy always comes from the sun. Everything that we basically get, that we need, needs energy from the sun. When you don't get energy from the sun, you have a depletion in vitamin D, which actually is very bad for depression, as well as cancer and many other different things. So what you need to do is go outside, enjoy the sunlight. Have you ever wondered when you go on holiday and you go tanning on that first day, how relaxed and good you feel afterwards? When you connect with nature and when you connect with energy from the sun and just the things that you're meant to be around. You will feel recharged. So go out into nature, get out of your room, get out of your house and go sit outside. Number 9, get yourself a depression journal. To many, this does sound very strange, and I am a little weird, so it doesn't really matter to me, but I get asked the question very often, how do I talk so freely about the hard things I've had to go through or deal with in my life? I have had a boyfriend commit suicide amongst many, many, many different things, but that's for another video. So what I do is I'm not afraid to feel and express that emotion, because why should I be afraid? Why am I afraid to talk about what I am going through? When we start to talk about what we're going through and start to actually see what is causing our depression, we begin to realize what we need to change. So for instance, some people may be working a job that's making them depressed. They have a diet. They're best friends, by the way. My baby Bella and Sparko. Been friends since they were little babies. Sparko. So what you need to do is create a new world for yourself. And by looking into your journal and seeing what is continuously making you depressed, that is how you can change it. So start writing down what makes you sad. When you're experiencing these bouts of depression, make a list in your journal what you are experiencing. And you need to take the stand and actually change that. Number 10, and the final life, and the final, hello baby, woo! And the final, oh, goodness me, come boy. And the final life hack, just to end it off, find your purpose. If you apply all of these, you will definitely find your purpose, because you'll be living in a state of happiness and you'll realize that depression cannot hold you back. When people say life is meaningless, it truly is meaningless. You give life meaning. So do what makes you happy. Do what makes you a better person. And you need to realize that you're worth the effort, because if depression is that bad, you're gonna get out of it. Like, you are gonna want to change it. So here's how. From me to you, I love you. Namaste. Kiss. Say bye.